Let's take this show on the road. Same-ish, different day. I be bored out my mind. Hometown, love my place, but while I'm in my prime, gotta go get away. Hop a train, cop a flight, and ride. Tonight I gotta break free. My job, those boss be working my nerves. Clock out at phones on do not disturb. My boyfriend's cool. I need my girls. The world is ours, so run it up. Let's go to a land where we cannot be found. So off the grid, way too little, slow down. No, me and who when they see me out, booked it 'cause I'm not waiting around for you. Let's have me go. Miami, let's have me go. Chicago, let's have me go. Be more, let's have me go. Houston, let's have me go. Atlanta, let's have me go. Tokyo, let's have me go. Brazil, let's have me go. London, let's have me go. South Africa, let's have me go. Korea, let's have me go. New York, let's have me go. Toronto, let's have me go. Paris, let's have me go. Nigeria, let's have me go. DC, let's have me go. And Vegas, let's have me go. Trees, new beach, we be out on the coast. Swimsuit, two-piece, catch me doing the most. Eating good in Perry, grab a glass, make a toast to life. Just living like it's my life. In these streets, music playing all night. Hawaii, I found my peace on a mountain zip line. Australia stole my heart, and the natives are fine as hell. Oh well, let's spend it all tonight. NWA Cane Corsos.
Welcome to NWA Cane Corsos podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to NWA Cane Corsos, where we talk all things dogs. Glad to be back. Glad to see everybody back. Mama, here goes that man. Schoolboy is back in the house. What's up, man?
How you doing? I'm good. Thanks for having me on again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, the people want to see you. I got to bring you at least once a month. You know what I mean?
I'm here. I love it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anything new in your world?
Same old same old, just doing the dog stuff, you know, telling a bunch of lies and you know, old fake stories and stuff. Try to give some info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna talk a little bit about breeding. So, you know, I got my question for you for today, my personal question, and you guys is joining in. When you first come in, y'all just start doing something new. I want to encourage you to hit the like button, hit the share button. Go over there when you get done. Go over there and watch some of Schoolboy videos, and y'all start giving us a little bit more help on getting this info out that we all are gaining and learning knowledge from. But Schoolboy, my thing is I did a little something different. I didn't go all the technical route on some breedings I did. I did my first breedings on some Central Asian Shepherds I got. I finally got them up, tested and health tested and all that good stuff. They looking good, acting right. I didn't go doing all the progesterone stuff this time. I counted on my male. And I had this particular female, which some people would consider as hot. She my most dominant dog, even over the males, you know.
Right.
she with the shit. You know what I mean? And if you know the kind of the history of some of the Central Asian shepherds, they are known to be, involved in some sports. You know what I mean? So this time the approach I took, I used the male I got, right, and she done pummeled him a little bit down through the years, but I said if he don't mate her, I can't use him in my program. I just did something different. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
And he finally did. He finally did, because I didn't want to use no grooming stands. I didn't want to progesterone test. I said, no, we're gonna do it Mother Nature way. And if he don't do it, I don't want to use him for anything like that. What is your thought process on something like that?
Yeah, that's a very good. I'm glad you did that, because, I talk about it all the time. I follow Mother Nature, right? And there's a lot of stuff, different science, new stuff we can use, which is great, right? But at some point, you want to see them natural instincts. Mm-hmm. Now, in some pride, some packs, this and that, the matron, the female, is dominant to a certain extent, right? And like you said, she beats everything up. That's fine. But when it comes to mating, that Mother Nature natural instinct should kick in, even if she's beating them up, right?
Yeah.
And if he wasn't a good specimen, he would have let that ass whooping overtake him, and he wouldn't have bred.
Right.
So I think that's a good tell. It's a good way to see the caliber of the male as far as those instincts are concerned. Because Mother Nature takes over. They want to have sex, and a lot of them will go through a lot of shit to do it. That's good, because that's procreation, and those instincts are telling that individual or the species itself that we have to continue.
Right.
If they don't have that instinct, I would do like you said. I wouldn't have bred him. I wouldn't include him, because he's lacking something. Right.
Right.
My thing was, some of my dogs would breed naturally. And there's processes you can do, even dogs that fight each other and don't want to breed, that you can do to get them to breed. Right. But it saved me a lot of the hassle of doing that. Right. There's almost no dog that won't breed. Most of them will. But sometimes it's a hassle. It takes a long time. It may take a couple of days of going through this and that, but you can get it done. Because, like I say, I'm lazy. I just didn't want to go through the hassle all the time. So I would breed them using artificial insemination. And I did it myself. But a dog like Big Red or female like Sissy, they'd breed to anything.
Yeah.
They didn't care. Even if the female would fight him, he'd just put up with it. He wouldn't fight her back. Because again, that Mother Nature taking over, he wants to have sex. And he understood the difference. When we're in the box doing this, that's one thing. Outside the box is totally different. The two don't necessarily go together. So that's a good experiment.
Yeah. And then and I feel all right about doing it that way, because I see that he would do it. He'll do what he need to do. So the next time, if I had to AI him, I mean, I wouldn't care, because I know he gonna do what he needs.
Exactly. He has that intent in him.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was looking at a video. I think it was on Thompson Kennels. It's a really good video on about the grooming stand. Some people call it another kind of stand, but I don't want to use that.
Yeah.
We'll say the grape stand.
Yeah. That was the original term.
Yeah.
And then it went to breeding stand.
Yeah.
And now I guess they call it grooming stand.
Just use breeding stand. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, they work. They work. Again, it just saves time, because even a lot of those females they put on the breeding stand, they'll breed, right? But you got to fuss with them. You got to be coy, and you got to do this and that, and wait and be patient and all that, So you can get it done. In fact, some people, what one technique they use was they would have the female in their arms, under their arm, backwards, so her ass end is facing out.
Right.
And they just slowly approach the male, right, while he's on the chain or in the house, somebody holding him or whatever. And they're not face to face, they're not showing aggression. And you back the female up to him slowly first so he can smell her, he can tell she's in heat, and then let him lick it and all that stuff. And then they'll breed right away. So there's techniques you can use, but that was the whole thing with the breeding stand, is it just alleviates the hassle of doing it. Right. Okay. Because especially with the inexperienced male, if they don't get it in there right away, the female becomes frustrated, this and that, and then it could lead to confrontation. Right. Yeah. Where some males, they're expert. Big Red, boom, he was in there. Take him about half a second. That ROM dog, Smith and Walton's Reuben, same way. Bad Billy, thing with natural breeder. They just go in there and do their thing. But some males, they miss, and the female starts getting frustrated, and the male gets like that, and then they turn on each other.
Yeah.
And that's what any breed can do that.
Yeah.
Right. It's just that with pit bulls, they have more of a proclivity to fight, so it could be more intense.
Yeah. You know? So yeah, and then this brother that was doing this video, I mean, he was breaking it down and saying, you know, like, it's used more than just for that. Like, if you need to contain a dog, you can do your AI with them. You can, you know, some dogs with their issues with their nails. You can contain a dog, and it's more of a safety measure than anything. Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
there's even with the, you know, the AI, the way I used to do it was real rudimentary. You know, I had a syringe, a catheter, a funnel, like that. Now they have a whole unit that actually stimulates a breeding, meaning when you put the tube up in there, right, it makes the female contract her vaginal muscles, just like she would if she was breeding naturally. And what that contraction does is it makes sure that the sperm goes right to the uterus.
Right.
So there's more of a chance of that the breeding will take if she's in estrus than doing it the old-fashioned way I did it. I had to use gravity. I would lift the back end of the female up and shoot the sperm in her, hold her up for about 5 minutes, and then let her down. This one, she could be standing, or you could have her in a breeding stand. Use the unit they give you like that, and it simulates a natural breeding.
Right. Hey, so when your females first come in heat, did you worm them right when they come in the heat, or what was your process on that? Or if they didn't have worms, did you even worry about it?
Not normally. That's more of a thing they started doing later.
Okay. Yeah.
But I would, you know, all my females were pretty much on schedule. So I would do it maybe a month out, right?
Yeah.
And that was part of the schedule also.
Gotcha.
So, but now people do it 10 days out. They do it during the pregnancy, right after the pups are born. Because back in the day, the warnings were, if you look at the bottle or whatever it is you're buying for a dewormer, don't use on pregnant females. Don't use on pregnant like that. Whatever changed, whether it was they improved the dewormer or whatever, you can do it through the whole process, before, during, and after.
Yeah. A lot of guys don't know that, and my vet told me about that, and I was starting to use. I forget the medication. My wife is in there, and I sure don't want to say it wrong on here, but yeah, you can worm her. It's a mild wormer you can use during the pregnancy. That's good.
Yeah.
I've been.
Not only that, you know, that month before too, I would give her some antibiotics just to make sure she's no infection, no uterine scars or whatever, you know.
Right.
And even that, guys will do it. They'll do it 10 days out, 3 days out, or whatever. It's just, you know, there has to be the right kind. I always implore people to do your research, see what works and what this and that, because most people will use a certain type of antibiotic, right?
Mm-hmm.
like it's covers all infections and viruses. They don't do that. The one that did that back in the day, they don't have it anymore, was Combiotic. It was two different kinds of antibiotics, so it kind of covered a broader spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
But now, you need to know what the problem is, what you're giving it for, and what is it used for, because they're not all the same.
Yeah. I noticed some guys, like especially in bully world, I learned today, like with flush their females out with saline and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that they're trying to avoid is pyometra with the antibiotics or wherever. If something's going on, we want to knock that out. Yeah.
It's kind of a preventative, and as long as the dose isn't too heavy or too prolonged, you don't want to do it for a week,
right.
because it'll knock their system down.
Right.
But it's better to be safe than sorry. Just don't overdo it. Don't, a little bit is better than nothing. Too much is not good.
Gotcha.
Kind of that way of thinking.
Right.
My whole thing, like I always talk about, was preventative maintenance. I didn't deworm my dogs a lot. I didn't use a lot of antibiotics. Back in the day when we did our thing, if they weren't hurt too bad, I didn't give them no antibiotics. I just made sure the wounds were clean.
Yeah, it'll be more of a topical thing if you use them, right?
Yeah. You can use, I use like betadine.
Yeah.
To make sure it's clean. Some people use, hydrogen peroxide, or I've even used salt with water in it to clean them out. Or they use, saline solution, like that. I just was always, I want my dogs healthy with a good natural immune system.
Yeah.
So my dogs were not wormy. They were not sickly. You have incidents here and there. And then when parvo hit and coronavirus hit, and then you have babesia and all this stuff, that you can't avoid that. You're going to need medicine. You're going to need preventative and something to take care of the situation. But just as a general rule, to be deworming them all the time, once a month, and or using antibiotics every time they get a sniffle. We were kind of that way with our kids too. We didn't take them to the doctor every time they cut their toe or something. You have to be sturdy and have good constitution, and more so with animals, right? Because you got to have natural immunities and healthy,
right.
Yeah. And when you do that, everything starts becoming regular. The heat cycles are regular. I hear a lot, she hasn't come into heat in this long and that long, and she's never come into heat, and this dog missed, on this breeding, and that male, is he sterile? Not, I have it checked, and this and that. I didn't have any of those problems. And I attribute that to preventative maintenance, health, care, upkeep, living quarters, all that.
Yeah, importance of keeping it clean. I even have to disinfect around there because I handle a lot of raw meat as well, so I got to be really careful. I do a lot of cleaning and a lot of disinfecting. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true. In their area, right?
Yeah.
And all around your house. But if you take your dogs out, I wasn't worried if they killed a gopher, or they got some old piece of rabbit or raggedy meat that was lying around,
right.
or they chewed this or chewed that. That's what I mean as far as like health, because you do need to have their area clean, because the main thing is the dogs are confined, so they don't get to move around a big area, even if it's in your yard. It's just the yard. They don't get out and about. But when I did have them out and about, and they got a hold of something, or they got dirty or ran through some crap or rubbed themselves on some cow shit or something, I didn't worry about it. I didn't rush home to clean it off.
Oh no.
They got to because to me, they're rubbing themselves rolling around in cow shit for a reason. There's got to be nutrients in there that help their coat. And if you ever had dogs do that, once it dries up and you clean it off and all that, you'll notice their coat is shinier.
Wow.
Just like when they go chew grass. There's grass all over the place. Why are they chewing in that spot?
Right.
It's got to be some nutrients in there that the dog naturally knows it's there, where he's choosing that spot rather than this other spot, or just chewing grass wherever he goes.
Mm-hmm.
They're particular about what they're eating, or certain trees they might chew on, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's generally nutrient based. It could be a nutrient deficiency, or it could be a benefit that Mother Nature tells them that has it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't always at a rush. Stop that. Don't do that. Clean them off. Let them do whatever the hell. They know better than I do,
Right.
Just like they bury bones. Why do they bury stuff and dig it up later?
Yeah.
I really don't know. It never hurt mine.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of dogs or hear about a lot of dogs doing that. Oh, they buried a bone. They buried a piece of meat.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why that is, but I know that there was some benefit to the dog. It doesn't even have to be a nutrient benefit. It could be he's saving it for later. He wants a snack later or something. He don't want nobody to find it, nobody to get it or whatever.
Could be, yeah.
But they do things for a reason.
Yeah. Somebody said they roll in poop to hide their smell. No.
Okay.
Think to smell like their prey.
Okay.
Oh, good. Hey, that's something to think about.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. So we done bred a female. From this point, we just kind of waiting, monitoring the female. This is a question I would like to ask. Some of us have our babies, our litters inside. I don't know how many are just kind of having them outside. Do you see a difference in just letting her have them outside, or letting them having them inside and you super monitor them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The difference for us was my family was involved.
Right.
So once you bring them inside, they're monitored more closely.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might have to clean up more because it's a more confined area, whether it's a basement or a kennel or whatever. We used to put ours in the pantry. My wife had she would set up a spot underneath the cupboards, right? Mm-hmm. With a heater during the wintertime, a fan during the summertime. And they would just have them there. And the dog, the female, it was high enough where it would keep her enclosed, but if she wanted to get out, she could just step over it. The pups couldn't jump out once they were born.
Right.
So they were always confined in there. But it's just, now she's part of the family. Mm-hmm. So even, about 2 weeks before she's going to have the pups, we bring her inside. Now she's inside. Mm-hmm. She can lay with the kids, go with the kids. She's all fat, waddling around, laying here and there. She knew her spot. She'd go in there. They'll actually nest. They'll start, once they realize that's their spot, they'll nest. They'll start fixing stuff up and making their bed and all that stuff, just like women do with the children, human children, right? Mm-hmm. Outside, there's fresh air, and depending on where you have them, how you have them. And I always advise people, if you have whatever breed it is, if you're having them outside, they still should be secluded. You shouldn't have them around a lot of other dogs or something that's going to disturb them, where they're going to jump around and maybe hurt their belly, cause a miscarriage or a bad pregnancy, or something that's going to get them worked up after the pups are born, and now they're going to kill their pups. I've seen good mothers do that.
Yeah.
They had litters before, but because of where they're placed next to dogs, and the dogs start firing up, well, she starts firing up. The pups are in there. The pup starts firing up. She can't get to nothing. So she turns it on their pups. They'll start jumping on her and biting her and this and that. Well, she just turns around and she'll kill them all. If not,
good point. They need somewhere quiet. They want somewhere quiet, dark, like a den. And you got to kind of simulate that, don't you?
Right. Yeah. And then when they're inside, you take them out, walk them out. I used to exercise ours regularly for about 2 months, till about 2 weeks before they're going to drop pups. And then once you bring them inside, you can go outside, let them go to the bathroom, and let them get some fresh air and walk around. You can sit out there with them. They'll lay down with you, or they'll, that's what I mean by part of the family. They're kind of doing the family thing along with everybody else, whether it's interacting with the kids or interacting with my wife or me. Just being, maybe you go for a ride in the car and she goes along. Just kind of, they're part of the unit. They get to do what everybody else does. They even eat the same food we eat. And, you go to McDonald's or something, buy her a hamburger too. Let her have a hamburger, like that.
Yeah.
And it just kind of gets them in that mode where we're a group. We're all together. Everybody living together. We're all happy. We're all family. Everything's good. No stress. No worrying about this or that. And we had the children and my wife always interacting with them.
Yep.
So if she needed help when they're delivering, or you know how women are, they always want to be there in case something goes wrong. Nothing ever went wrong, but they're there to help them.
Right.
The female's used to it. She's not going to react. She's not going to become aggressive. She's not going to turn on the kids or bite this and that. You got to teach the kids, be quiet, don't make noise, sit there, pet her, hold her, all while they're delivering pups.
Yep.
And it's not a big deal. The wife will she'll pet them, she'll put a cold towel on them and rub her belly, stimulate and all that crap, which is good.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell people to, when it comes to pregnancy, the more involved you are, the better, rather than backing off and giving her space and leave her alone and don't bother her. No, it shouldn't be a lot of active and a lot of jumping around and hollering and all that stuff. Nice, quiet, but you're there with them.
Right.
And the kids, sometimes they just sit there and pet her.
That's all they do.
Before the pregnancy, before she drops the pups. And just they're used to being around. They take them to a room and lay down. They watching TV together and stuff. These were match dogs,
Yeah.
But when they're not in there doing their thing, they're a dog. It's just a regular dog. That's any breed.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll put our kids in it. Y'all go in there. When we get her acclimated to have our kids go in there petting her and letting her know that everything's gonna be straight. And when those puppies come now, we still encouraging it, letting the kids touch them and stimulate them, letting her know, hey, ain't nobody gonna hurt your babies.
Ain't nobody gonna hurt your baby. We're family.
Yeah, we family. And then them puppies come and we playing music now. About time them puppies, we letting them puppies run now. They finna see the real Joe Church family.
There you go.
With all the kids loud and bang, 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 and outside.
All that. Yeah.
By the time they get home, they ain't scared of shit. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
They ain't jumping around.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. Any different surfaces, they walk on pavement, they walk on grass, dirt, cement, whatever it is. And the noises don't bother them because they're a lot of animals, a lot of dogs, because they've been with humans so long, right? Whatever influence you have around them, they can become accustomed to it because they see if they see themselves as part of the family, whatever it is you're doing and whatever music you're playing or loud noise truck or whatever it is, it's part of the norm. It's what we do. That's the way we live. That's what it is. So, the family ain't tripping. They're singing to the music and dancing and whatever it is. So the dogs will do the same thing. They'll just go right along with it. I think you locked up, Joe. He'll be back. Well, one of the things that people used to do in the past, at least pit bull people, is they would have the females whelp the pups while they're still on the chain. You muted, Joe.
Sorry, man, my internet went out.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. I would just I tried to, so it wouldn't be just nothing. I was telling them pit bull people in the past, a lot of them, what they would do is they would have the females whelp their pups while they're still on the chain, and they're
Oh,
dragging the chain around. Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And on face value, you know, it looks bad. It ain't really good,
Mhm.
but you'd have females that understood, you know, they were chained up and they would avoid the chain hitting their pups, getting wrapped up. I wouldn't advise anybody to do that,
Yeah.
but that's just how crude you know, some of the people were. They just, you know, if they lost some pups, they lost them. If not, but with real good females that are intelligent, they understand that that chain is there, so they'll do whatever they need to do to make sure that that chain doesn't interfere with the pup, doesn't hit them or lie on them or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's just, I wouldn't advise anybody to do that.
Yeah, but the moms, man, they become super cautious. Even though I do
Yeah.
have a couple steps getting stepped on sometimes, but for the most part, I ain't never lost one. I think I might have lost one from one getting stepped on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I want to ask you about pitfalls to avoid that you might have seen, because when I did my first litter, I listened to this fool. He said, now once you did this breeding, I start putting the weight on them, man. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, man, because I got her too big. And
Yeah.
my vet said, no. She said, no, just let her pick up the food about 10% on the second month. In the second month. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
what are your thoughts on that and any other pitfalls or fables not to believe when it comes to breeding these dogs?
Well, you know, you can increase the feed, you know, at the time you breed her, shortly after, a month later, like that. If you're going to do it when you breed her and right after, maybe a, you know, a little bit, 2 or 3%, maybe a quarter cup, like that. If you're using kibble, you know, or maybe an extra, you know, 4 ounces of food, like that, and then you can increase it more a month later. But yeah, it's again, like humans, you know, women that stay relatively trim and exercise, even though you increase the weight, you have easier deliveries, you have healthier kids, you have less physical and you know, and different ailments that can happen, you know, less sore back and all this stuff. If they're relatively fit, it's the same with dogs. You don't want them too fat, too heavy. You know, people think, well, the pups need more nutrients. They do, but if she's got a belly full of pups and she's obese or really overweight, that's too much. The pups don't need that. Yeah, the pups don't need that many nutrients. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, my daughter, she just had a baby, her 9th one, and she stays fit.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't get real big. She still exercises up to a certain point and eats what she eats and all that. And then afterwards, it doesn't take her long to lose the baby fat and all that baby weight that she gained. And it's kind of the same. That's the way I looked at it with dogs. My wife was the same way.
Yeah.
Always active, doing something, and never get real, you know, their belly gets big, but the rest of their body it just increases a little bit, not a lot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the bounce back is what do you advise for when she's in whelp and they taking a lot out of her? Is there anything you did to help her besides picking up the food?
Well, it's the type of food, and I started this during the pregnancy. Okay. More iron. You can give beef. You can give liver. There's a thing that it was called. It was a paste you gave them. What was it called? I forgot, but it's just it helps them put on weight. Yeah, it froze up again. Like for instance, Dog Bloom, that company has a product called Dog Bloom Extra Weight for females in whelp for pups. And I gave it to them, like if I had a sick pup, let's say they got parvo and they survived, I'd give them this paste, and damn it, I can't remember the name. And it just helps them keep weight on them and has extra nutrients like iron. The other thing is more electrolytes to keep them hydrated. You could use Pedialyte. You could use even Gatorade. I use chicken broth or beef broth. It helps if they're hydrated, and electrolytes help them retain that hydration. But it wasn't nothing drastic. Maybe some extra calcium, a little bit, because you don't want to overdo it with the calcium. That's not good. The way I gave them extra calcium was through a supplement, but I also gave them beef bones to chew on, raw beef bones. Don't use cooked beef bones. And they're big, because with bones, there's a chance that they could choke, or with cooked ones, there's a chance that they could splinter. So I always gave them big beef knuckle bones, and that's kind of where they got the extra calcium from.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry, man.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It happened.
Man, I got another internet service, so I just switched over to it. That's a damn shame. The internet service so bad, I had to find two of them.
Yeah, yeah. So you must be way out in the country somewhere.
Yeah, I'm kind of out in them sticks, brother, a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'm in the neighborhood, but we in the sticks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
My neighbor, he about 40, 50 yards up, and then so
yeah. You heard of Daniel Boone, right?
Yes,
you know
who
Daniel Boone was? Okay, he lived in Kentucky, what was to be Kentucky, right? Uh-huh. And he had hundreds of acres that he owned, this and that. He came out of his house his cabin one day, and he looked off in the distance, and he saw smoke, right, from a chimney. Mm-hmm. And he turned around, told his wife, he goes, "Man, we got to move. It's getting crowded around here." They were 50 miles away.
Yeah.
So I understand that, you know.
Yeah, older I get, the more I kind of like my space. So where I live now, I don't got no neighbor just right up on me. But I got to drive past all my neighbors getting to the house, and I'm at the bottom by myself, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, us men as we get older, Joe. Us men as we get older, with me anyways, and a lot of my friends and stuff, what we want is peace. That's what we want, peace. No hassle, no crowding, no drama, none of that.
Right.
I remind my wife every now and again. She gets it, but that's real important to us,
Right. Yeah. You get a certain stage, you kind of just like, especially if you done been in a few wars in your life, you a younger man.
Exactly.
I had a couple tussles and trials and tribulations. Shit, the best thing you want is peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You done did it all. You know what I mean?
Done did it all, and we're not in a position to do that no more.
No, that's right.
I'm not gonna fist fight nobody unless I have to. Mm-hmm. I'd rather just take out a knife or a gun and shoot them, like Indiana Jones, with the gun.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to prove,
Yeah. That's how I am. You know what I'm saying, man? I don't gotta get in no confrontations, but if you think you're gonna physically do something to me, what do you think I'm gonna be? I'm gonna go to the max.
That's simple. That's simple.
I don't have time. I mean, that's crazy. Like, for somebody to think they put their hands on you for some reason, for whatever, man.
Right.
First off, nowadays I'd be like, man, walk away from this bullshit. Your parents,
like
you got to change your attitude. You got to change your
No.
When you get older,
you get smarter.
And then you don't want to waste energy on bullshit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Double Dog. Hey, Double Dog, what's going on, sir? He said green tripe. Was you speaking on something about that, Schoolboy?
When you asked about the increase in nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never used green tripe. I know a lot of people that do. And some of the people I knew, because it's been around a long time, they used it in keep. They actually used it doing their conditioning program.
Yeah.
And it has to be specifically green tripe, not the white one, not the whatever. It has to be the green tripe. So somebody did some research and found out whatever nutrients they have, that's the type you should use, at least for canines. But yeah,
Right.
you can give them that. You can give them some organs, like liver. It just, with liver, because it's so high in iron and B12 and stuff, you don't want to use a lot.
Right.
So if I had dogs today, I might give them liver once a week.
Mm-hmm.
If I was using it in keep, I might give them an ounce a day, maybe even a little less. You just don't want to do that because it raises the blood count, which is good. But if you raise it too high, the dogs are going to run hot.
Right.
Yeah. And you see a lot of people, they're feeding beef, right? So you got protein and iron there. They give liver, you got iron, B12, and different vitamins. They're giving red cell, which is iron and B12 and all, right? And it's too much iron. And you can if you're going to give them all this stuff, then you should give them very little of it, or give beef and a little bit of liver, or give beef and a tiny bit of red cell. It's just people think that, it has this stuff in it and that and this and that, and maybe one ingredient is missing some vitamin or mineral that this other ingredient has. They put them all together, which whatever ingredient it's missing is probably in something else you're giving them anyways.
Right.
I do. That's what.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, because that's what supplements have. Supplements are just a concentrated form, either liquid or powder, of what's in food. So if you're going to give supplements, it shouldn't be a lot if you're giving them a good all-around diet. It's just in my way of thinking, I'm supplementing them because that supplement, whether it's liquid or powder form, they're going to absorb it faster, so they're going to get the benefits from it sooner.
Yeah.
As they digest their food, they're going to get the same nutrients that's in the supplement. They're going to digest it later, so they get the benefits later.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I did it that way.
Some of the stuff you said to use, like when I was feeding kibble, when I went into the whelp, I was switching over to raw, and I had noticed that, man, them females don't fade. They do not fade. They can keep up with all the pumping of the milk and all that. So I would do that when I was feeding kibble and whatnot. So, and I would give my puppy a little bit of it too. And but I always
get them used to it.
Yeah. I'm a raw feeder that I got, because I got access. I'm around all these country boys, deer hunters.
Right. Yeah.
And,
like that.
Yeah. And then, but when I send them pups home, even though my belief system was work for me is the raw, because I got easy access, clean up, all that stuff is. But I have to send them puppies home on kibble. You know why?
Why?
Everybody might not feed the puppies raw, so I gotta send those puppies home on a brand of kibble they can access, and then it'll be their decision what they do. And then two, I want them to stay on that kibble because one of the things you'll see if that puppy's getting sick, maybe it's like getting something like parvo, is loose stool or diarrhea or something, you know what I mean? So I want to on that feed anyway, and then after you do what the hell you want, after about a month, you switch the food over. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some people I know too, they mix the both. That's a good point, because not everybody feeds what you feed, and or has that variety to feed. So if you make the kibble a base, and it could be just a little bit, a handful, or not much, and then you're feeding them raw or whatever else you feed, then at least they have that base. So if you send them off to someone else, they're used to that kibble.
Right.
And then they can change their diet as they see fit.
Yeah, it's your dog. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's your dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do you think a dog, for someone who owns a dog, when you talk about supplements, did you just give your dog supplements just because, or was it more for keeps? Should you have to give a dog supplements as a pet?
Well, two reasons why I did it, because I was active, I was a competitor.
Right.
One is I'm gonna supplement them because I regularly exercise them, and then if I go into keep, I don't have to spend any time for them getting used to something that they're not used to, whether it's a supplement or feed or whatever. It's the same food I'm feeding them in their daily life. When you put them in keep, all I'm doing is increasing the food. That's it. So I supplement them, and I wouldn't advise people to do that. Not regular and not a lot. If your dogs are not active, if they're not working sporting dogs, if it's just a pet, nah, they don't need it. Unless it's a pet that goes jogging with you for 10 miles, 3 days a week, and you take it here and there, and it goes to the mountains, you take it swimming, you have kids or yourself that go out in the yard and play with it, and always active, that active lifestyle. But if it's a pet that just lays around, no, you want to keep their weight at a certain level, not too heavy, not too thin, and they really don't need supplementation if you're feeding them a good balanced diet. So that's why I did it. I didn't want to change anything. I put them in keep. It's the same shit I gave them during their life.
Right.
But I supplement them a little bit during their life because I'm always doing something with them. So they're always going to have the proper amount of nutrients. And you can see that in their stool. They didn't empty out 2-3 times a day and have big old stools. They were nice, tight, firm. Once a day, they'd empty it out, maybe, go and poop, or maybe twice, once in the morning, once at night. Right. But that's with because if you supplement them, even if it's not heavy and they're not active, one of the things that could happen is you'll have loose stools, dark piss, and they'll start getting hot spots on their body where they start losing hair because it's too much,
Yeah. Let me ask you this. When did you see fit, or when do you see fit to start separating the pups from mom for getting the milk?
Yeah, when they start getting into it too much, that could be anywhere from 3 months to 3 to 4 months, around that age. Because what will happen is they'll start fighting. And also with the mom, once their baby teeth start coming in and their nails get longer and pointier, they'll chew her up. She'll have scratches all over her teeth and her belly, and because they're always jumping on her and they want to eat and all that. She's trying to get away from them. They follow her around.
You said,
but also
you said 3 or 4 months or 3 or 4 weeks?
3 or 4 months.
Oh, okay. You keep them on there a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it depends. Yeah. It depends. And I had, baby chain, what I call puppy chains. It's just same hookup, just smaller, thinner chain, smaller swivels, right? 3 months, they're 12 weeks old. If you have kennels, and I kept mine on chains. I had a couple of kennels, but they weren't for the pups.
Right.
So I would put them on small chains. If you have kennels, you can separate them when you wean them 8 weeks old or 6 weeks old. Right. But I kept them in there. Once they started getting too rambunctious, they start killing each other.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I would separate them then. And then again, depending on the female, the pups, all that, how active they are, they'll start tearing her up, man. They scratch the hell out of them.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. She started. Get off me. Bam,
yeah,
bam.
yeah. And then she might get too mad and then kill one.
That's true. Yeah.
The puppies will gang up on one and kill it, and then they'll start going down the line. And contrary to popular belief, when they start ganging up on a single pup, they all attack the same pup.
Mm-hmm.
That pup they're attacking is usually the better pup.
Oh, really?
The badasses are not the ones killing it. The badass is the one that's being killed. Generally.
Yeah.
You would think it's the other way around, right? He's a wimp, or this one's a badass. He's killing the wimp. No, they're ganging up on him because he's the one kicking all their asses. He's the dominant one as far as that goes. So in a group, they're eliminating him or her,
right,
rather than the other way around.
Yeah, it's funny the things you can see, notice, or observe when they're born. You can see, damn, that little tiny one's strong. She's small, but she can get to the titty first.
Already getting up, starting to walk and crawl. Yeah,
and it correlates as they grow up and say, damn, that sucker got a lot of heart. You start seeing it.
Yeah.
From the start. Yep.
And it depends, it could be the loud, rambunctious one. It could be the quiet one. It's all in their behavior and what they do. And that's why, especially in my time, most dogmen, most of the time they spent was just staring at their dogs, just looking at them, observing them, making mental notes, sometimes writing stuff down, seeing their behavior. Because once you start breeding your own dogs, the parents, the grandparents, great-grandparents, all that. When you see them tiny little pups, whether they're a week old or 2 weeks old or whatever it is, you see the same behaviors in them little tiny pups as you did in their parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. That helps you decide based on traits, which ones you like better than other ones, or which ones are following the traits of their family. Once you do that for a few generations, you're going to pick the best ones, believe me. 9 times out of 10, you're going to pick the right ones and the best ones and the ones that you're going to keep. Right. That's an argument that I get all the time. You don't know, they're pups, this and that. You mean you've been breeding your family of dogs for 5, 6, 7 generations and you don't know shit about your pups? You can't tell which ones are going to make it and which ones ain't. Now, you're going to get fooled every once in a while. That's why I say 9 times out of 10. So, but 90% of the time, you're going to be right.
Right. And I'm going to tell you something else. I would like to kind of talk about the end here. We got a few more minutes. But I like to do this. I do a lot of documentation. Let me see if I can put this on there. Hold on. Wait a minute. Shit. Okay. See, like when my dogs, when they hook up, I'll take a picture and date it. I'll date every time they're stuck. You know what I mean? And I try to keep a record of what day I bred them on, and
all that.
Yeah. Because
it's something that I've been telling people to do for years and years.
Yeah.
Because you can't remember everything, and you want to have a record of it, a family tree or whatever it is that you can refer to later.
Yeah.
And I even tell people, I got tons and tons of pictures, old pictures of dogs, famous dog, this and that. Nobody writes on the back what the hell dog it is.
Yeah.
So I got to research and find out. So years and years ago, I started writing on the back of every picture I got, this dog, and a little pedigree, if I could put it on there, a 2 generation or whatever. Because you can't remember everything.
You can't. And then like I even write, like I write like on whatever dog, the first time I seen blood, what day I bred her on, and I just try to keep up with all that stuff because I don't want to, traditionally, we kind of taught to go to the vet and get that progesterone test. I don't know about y'all, money a little tight nowadays, and you got the election. We don't know how this economy gonna be. So yeah, I'm depending on Mother Nature a lot more and a little better record keeping. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And look at it this way. In the past, without all this science or without all these things that people did, whether it was cattle, dogs, horses, whatever, they didn't have a name to them. Science gives them a name, whether it's breeding, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Those people in the past, they did the same thing we're doing now.
Right.
And they didn't have no progesterone tests. And if something didn't have the traits that they wanted or proved not to be able to produce, whether it was barren or produce low quality individuals, they got rid of it.
Right, right.
So I don't knock science, but I'm saying if they could do it back then, and somebody's going to say, well, they weren't as good. That's not true. In some cases, they were better than today's people because they had that old horse sense, that knowledge, that inherent of spending time, putting the work in, spending time with the animals, choosing the right ones, all that, which is what we do today. We just have science to help us this and that. So my point to you saying that is, it's not necessary to have all that. If you can't afford it or you don't even want to hassle with it, right? Because it's not the end all be all. It's just something to help you get some kind of result. You can still do it. Mother Nature, your own instincts, your own experience, all that stuff. And by keeping notes like that you can refer to, even after the dogs are gone, you can look back and see, oh, this dog built like this. And he had this type of head and this structure and this and that. And you can compare it to your current dogs today. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And talk about keeping notes and all that. Yeah. This here, Joe, this is just for the video topics, right? Yeah. That I do. They not all completed. They, and my point of that is what you're talking about, these pamphlets, I've got hundreds of them dating back 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Of everything you can think of related to my dogs, other people's dogs, breedings, matches, roles, birth dates, pedigrees, all of them. I got a whole cabinet full. That's how important it was for me to keep some kind of record, not to mention all the pictures I have. If I showed you my pictures, I got hundreds and hundreds of them. And a lot of them are on negatives, the old negatives you used to get,
Yeah.
Literally hundreds, if not thousands of them.
It's time for you to put that shit in the cloud digitally, so you won't never lose.
I would. Now maybe you could help me with that. The negatives. I have the negative.
Right.
Is there a cheap way to turn them into pictures?
I don't know, but if somebody hear this, put it in the comments on how we can transfer some of this stuff into digital form, because I know I got
digital or even hard copies or whatever. If digital is cheaper, I might be able to do that. But the reason I asked is because I could go down to Walgreens or whatever, but I have, like I said, literally hundreds or thousands of them. It ain't gonna be cheap at Walgreens to do it that way, man. It's not.
No.
Even if it were 50 cents a picture, it would cost me $5,000 or $10,000 to do them.
I bet somebody can do it for way a lot cheaper. You'll be surprised. What some guys know out here. But man, I'm definitely going back more to the old way, and even trying to document, things about as long as you got this, you know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you can really find somewhere to get the pictures, a lot of stuff that y'all didn't have back in the day. You can get pictures, video, and document this shit and put it up in the cloud or on a hard drive. And make
I even have a friend. I even had a friend that I send pictures to, and he'll clean them up, or he can put some color to them. He'll take all the scratches out or all the blemishes, as good as he can. He does a good job. So I know there's a lot of technology that can help me.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah. Well, Schoolboy, I think that'll wrap it up. I'm sorry about all my internet issues. Maybe if y'all donate.
Get a better unit. Yeah.
Hey, y'all make sure when you see the replay, guys, look, if it ain't number $2, send Schoolboy something and go over there to his channel, because he gives out a lot of information a lot of you guys can't get in maybe even in the breed you're in. It's hard to get it. It's hard to get it. you know, and especially with certain breeds. So y'all go out and look out for him and go over there to his channel and check out some of his books and things, and let's share this knowledge and let's do a better job for these damn dogs. How about that? Schoolboy, you got anything else you want to say?
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
One of the things I want to say, I'm going to do in the next day or two, I'm going to do a video on breeding, you know, like how to start out if you just with a small yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'd like to do the same thing on maybe the next podcast me and you do.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
How to start a yard if you only have, let's say, 2 dogs.
Okay.
And continue to keep it going over generations and generations.
Yeah.
And I don't mind doing it here too. I'll do it on anybody because there's always different stuff, new stuff. Some people don't see it all. So I don't mind sharing it. I don't mind, but that's something that's come up. Like, how do I start out?
Right.
You know, what's the process? I only got 2 dogs, or sometimes I only have 1 dog. I have a female. What do I breed her to? This and that. But it's just going to be about how to get started, how to move forward in the future, what breeding to use, and like that. So maybe in our next podcast we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think
but thanks again for having me on.
Oh yeah, you gave some solid information today, because it's the simple questions that people, you know, the fundamentals that I get the most questions for. Not that way out shit, you know, like, oh, if the stars don't line up on that.
Yeah.
People
they want math equations and trigonometry and all that. No, because a lot of people, whether they're starting out or they're not starting out, you have to get the fundamentals first.
Fundamentals, yeah.
And there's so much involved that if you just ask a simple question and you get a simple answer, that will help you more than sitting there trying to figure out what this dude's saying, using all this technical shit that most people, and maybe even he, don't really understand to the full extent.
Right.
You know, I've never purported to be smart, but I know how to talk to people and I know how to explain certain things. And it makes it a lot easier if you just talk like a regular person that anybody listening can understand, you know?
That's right. That's right.
So that's how I look at it.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll start sticking to the fundamentals because that's what they want. You know what I mean? Well, thank you once again, sir.
Anytime, brother. We'll do it again.
All right. We'll see y'all in the next one. Hey, I got one tonight, so y'all tune back in tonight.
I will.
All right.
Salute to the chat.
Salute.
Peace.
Yeah.